volunteers, like this one, Narberth Ambulance, one of the busiest paramedic units in Montgomery County.
Station 313, driver and crew needed. 1050I vehicle rescue.
Another major ambulance service in the area is the Second Alarmers of Willow Grove. They're one of the largest and oldest rescue squads in Pennsylvania, and they handle an estimated 7,800 calls every year. Everyone agrees they're first rate. One in particular knows for sure.
Very briefly and frankly, I'm convinced that the Second Alarmers saved my life that day.
Attorney Don Marino doesn't smoke, rarely drinks, and has always been in excellent physical condition. This past April, he suffered a heart attack while shopping with his family in Willow Grove. The Second Alarmers raced to the scene, and when Marino's heart stopped again, they knew they'd have to act quickly.
We actually gave him an electric shock to the heart, and eventually that's what converted him back and to have his own pulses, and then eventually after about 30 seconds he started his own respirations again.
I'm convinced that because of their prompt response, because they knew their job, and because they did it swiftly and competently, I'm around today to talk about it.
CPR, he's straight line, let's go.
The reason the Second Alarmers are called a rescue squad is that they provide many services: emergency medical technicians and paramedics, rescue and fire support. All three skills were needed one day last month when their neighborhood witnessed one of the worst residential explosions and fires in memory. Chief John Evans.
When I come down the street, all I could see was a house that used to be there, had blown across the street, and a heavy volume of fire and smoke was emanating from the rear of the house. I looked into the rear of the house and could see to the back of the house, and I saw a body start rolling out of the house, a man that was on fire.
Second Alarmer Steve Avato was one of two who went in after the victim.
He was still on fire at the time, and I was attempting to beat out the flames, but I couldn't do it. My hands were starting to get singed, and the heat was almost unbearable. We got him outside, rolled him on the ground to extinguish the flames, then brought him across the street to the paramedic crew, who began treatment of him.
The Second Alarmers, like most rescue units, have one major gripe with the system. Many people insist on misusing it for their own personal convenience.
It ends up that the ambulance service is used as a transport a lot of times to and from the doctor's office, the same as the city system is.
There has been concern, too, about the training level of all ambulance companies, and especially the volunteers, because they're nonprofit and their funds are limited. But the better ones somehow scrape up the money for the proper equipment and spend hundreds of hours in training. And then there are those ambulance companies, poorly trained, ill-equipped, in it just for the money. They give everyone a bad name. Right now, Pennsylvania has no means to deal with them, but a new law starting this spring should do just that. Until then, your best bet is to look for an ambulance company which has been awarded a state certification of excellence. And remember, support your volunteer ambulance company. If they all close their doors, we'd be in real trouble.
Well, if the volunteer ambulance people in the state of Pennsylvania decided to throw in the towel, 3/4 of all hospital calls would not happen.